Buffalo Bills are coming off a great Monday Night Football victory, and their reward for this victory is they get to play Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans in Week 7. Titans are coming off a tough loss against the Indianapolis Colts and are looking to bounce back against the Bills team, who had a solid performance, as I've already mentioned. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 7 matchup between the Titans and the Bills. We're going to talk about the matchups within the game that you need to look out for, and at the very end of the video, provide our predictions on who we think is going to win and why. But before we get into that, we do have a goal of getting to 100 new subscribers for these Week 7 prediction videos we have going out. We've been able to meet that goal over the past several weeks, thanks to all of our new members to the channel. So if this is your first time here, or if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to the Tracy Take. Leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win this game and why. And so, Ryan, Josh Allen and the Bills went into New York to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets and had a solid team performance overall. It was a tale of two halves, very offensive first half for both teams, and then an extremely defensive half for both teams. Combined with both teams also did an excellent job missing field goals as well. So we won't talk too much about that as well. But in general, though, Josh Allen put on a good performance, especially to not having James Cook as well. Defense definitely stepped up in the second half. Actually helped me win a couple of bucks in my pick'em leagues with the 43 points. Got me a tiebreaker randomly. So great job defense, and Tyler Bass and Greg Zerline also missing field goals. I can't reiterate that enough. So, but want to throw it over to you here. Bills had a couple of tough weeks in a row. It really actually is, honestly, if you kind of look at it, they had about like 6 just bad quarters. The entire Baltimore Ravens game, first half of that Texans game. But in that second half of that Texans game, they really started to pick things up offensively, take it to the Texans, fell just short, thanks to Kyle Fairborn field goal. And then I would say a solid 4 quarters here against the New York Jets, who have a good defense as well. Bills team still started to pick things back up, maybe went through a little lull. 2 games up, or a game and a half up now in the AFC East champions. How far do you think this team can go this season?
Yeah, for the Bills, I think it's going to be really interesting to see just how this team progresses throughout the season. Because right now, Josh Allen, I believe passing yards wise, they're about average. You can just kind of tell like this offense hasn't quite put things together fully in the passing game. Just Khalil Shakir being the only wide receiver that's caught a pass from Josh Allen before this season. I know Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are still there, but they're tight ends, so it's a little bit different. And this passing game just hasn't quite hit its full stride just yet. And then, but this running game, this downhill running game, especially late in games, has been really effective for them. And just James Cook, let James Cook, and it's been a really good season for him so far. This is a good Bills team. This offensive line is good. This defense is, I believe, good in situations. Personnel wise, you can't really pick out like 1 or 2 players that are like superstars, but just their total is worth more than the sum of their parts. Kind of deal. And they just play good team defense. They play their role, and they don't get beat in certain situations. So props to them. When it comes to how far they'll go, we'll see. Like later on in the year, they play the Chiefs and 49ers, and then the Lions in those 3 games are in 6 weeks. So like we'll see later on. But right now, I think they just take things week to week and keep trying to progress this passing offense. And kind of the same thing for the Titans. They've shown some glimpses here and there. Like they should have beat the Bears in week 1 if it weren't for some costly turnovers there by Will Levis. That would be a win. Tough game against the Jets and Packers there, but they looked good against the Dolphins, although a lot of teams have looked good against the Dolphins. And then just a tough divisional slugfest this past week. So they do have a really talented receiving core with Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins there. It's they just need to start putting the pieces together, I think, in this offense and get the ball rolling. This defense has been pretty good all year. And so I think this Titans team, they're still just kind of scrambling to find their identity at the moment.
Yeah, the watching the Titans game is we were watching with Dan with the Colts as well. Is they really should have won that game, but at the same time, though, too, it felt like a typical Will Levis offensive game. Not even like it was so much on Will Levis, just more of just kind of one of those things. Also, too, just the offense just seems to just stall out. They're just not able to effectively move the ball down the field, put points up on the board. Stalled out at 17 points again, and so they're 31st overall in total yards per game. 31st in passing yards. They do have an average run game as well. They're 15th in overall rushing yards per game at 118. Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard seems to be a pretty solid combination there. But it just comes back to that passing game where they still just haven't found things yet. I was up in Nashville this past week and talked with some old buddies about it, and there's a debate between is it the offensive line? Does he have time? Is it Will Levis trying to do too much? And I think it's kind of maybe a combination of both. I think he's trying to do too much, overcompensate too much, and at the same time, too, there is maybe still some things on the offensive line that need to be improved. I do like Skoronski. J.C. Latham seems to be playing well for his rookie year, but then the other side of the line seems to be struggling. So let me know your thoughts on that. If you think it's Will Levis, if you think it's other things as well within this offense, because I think that's going to be an interesting debate for the rest of the year, especially too kind of looking into the 2025 offseason if the new head coach wants to maybe go a different route at quarterback, because that's just going to be an interesting debate. On the flip side with Tennessee, their defense statistically is ranked. They're first overall in yards allowed per game, first in passing yards allowed per game, ninth in rushing yards allowed per game. And they do have a good defense. I don't think their defense is that good, though. If you look at, they have 2 games where they played just absolutely inept offenses. First week against Caleb Williams, as you mentioned, where they actually somehow lost that game, giving up only 148 yards. Then they played a Tyler Huntley led Miami Dolphins team in week 4 and only gave 184 yards. And so the only time they really played an offense that was super elite, not super elite, is top notch, I would say, was the Malik Willis led Green Bay Packers, and they put up 378 yards, 190 passing yards from that offense, 188 rushing yards from that offense as well. And I say that because this is going to be, I think, another similar test as that matchup right here. Bills are going to be extremely balanced. We saw how well they were running the ball today. I mean, even without James Cook today, that offensive line was getting a great push the entire game. Ray Davis had 20 carries for 97 yards. They had 149 total rushing yards as a team. And so I think that rushing defense, I think that front seven is really going to be tested by this Buffalo Bills offensive line. It's probably going to be one of their biggest tests they've had so far this season, comparing that also probably to the Packers as well. Then on the flip side, then they're still going to be going up against Josh Allen, who, looking at it, is far and away probably the best quarterback that they're going to be going up against. They don't have the same weapons as some of these other teams have, but what they make up for that, though, is going to be in this offensive system and how easy it is for them to facilitate the ball.
Actually, if you think about it, so Caleb Williams in his first start, 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers in his third start as a Jet. Second start coming off a torn Achilles, that Jets offense had clearly not figured things out yet. Malik Willis, Tyler Huntley, and Joe Flacco were the other quarterbacks that they faced. So a clear step up in competition there. And another thing too, Malik Willis, I believe, had a pretty good running day against them. Josh Allen, I believe, in the scramble drill is going to be really hard, I think, for them to stop. Where was it? Malik Willis, 6 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown. So it'll be really interesting to see what they're able to do to potentially try to stop Josh Allen. But let's just kind of get into predictions here. And if you can't tell, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. I just think they're going to be the clearly better team. I think this could be a pretty dominant performance for them, especially if the Titans continue to turn the ball over in a similar way that they have in the last few through the first 6 weeks. So I'm going with the Bills. I think they're just the better team.
I also think it's going to be at home. Going to go with the Bills also in this one. It's going to be this Titans team is going to be very fun to watch because they have interesting pieces. They're kind of going through a little shocking transition that people weren't initially expecting after the firing of Mike Vrabel. So I think they're I think a lot of people, obviously the fans are going to be like this, but especially to channels like ours are really kind of have them under a microscope is trying to figure out what they're going to be at the end of the year. Is it going to be a Will Levis team? Is he going to figure things out? Because he hasn't played a full season yet. He came in at week 8 against the Atlanta Falcons. So this is actually this is the final game of his rookie season. Unless I can't remember if he missed a game or two towards the end of the year because of an injury. but he hasn't played a full 16, 17 games yet. And so still kind of going through that transition here. But at the same time, though, too, he has a much shorter leash than some of these other first-round quarterbacks because taking in the second round, he's only got the 4-year contract at a much cheaper rate. If things don't pan out for him throughout the season, he's gone. I mean, they don't care.
Yeah.
Like if the Titans are picking 7th or 8th and Shedeur Sanders is there, I think they're going to go with him.
Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, either any of those three.
So this regime's going to want the quarterback that they picked. So a lot of pressure on Will Levis. That's the industry, unfortunately. You can say the same thing about Bryce Young, who's both guys maybe just not in favorable situations here, but it is what it is.
I'm glad Jones has been in this situation for years also. Like it's just if you're a mediocre quarterback, that's the
I'm glad I'm just some guy on the internet. I don't have to worry about that. So like and subscribe.
Yeah. But I'll take the paychecks though. Those would be nice.
That's why you should like and subscribe. Help us out.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about like trying to go be a quarterback in the NFL. So
I know, yeah.
But if it's not also obvious, I'm going to go with the Bills in this one. I just think against inferior teams, the Bills are professional enough to not make mistakes, to limit mistakes and capitalize on mistakes from the other team.
Yeah, no, that's this Bills team is a playoff contender, potentially making a deep playoff push. So I think they're going to come out ahead in this matchup. We agree. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Tennessee Titans? Will it be the Buffalo Bills? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.